Your morning cortisol spike is physically damaging your brain, but 3 minutes of deliberate sensory focus can neutralize it entirely. Forget expensive therapy or total lifestyle overhauls. These five specific biological shifts require zero equipment and start working the moment you wake up. Most people struggle because they ignore the physiological foundation of their stress response, yet the fifth method acts as a master switch for your nervous system that you can trigger instantly. Circuit breaker for your stress response. So sit back, grab a cup of water, and let's get to it. Anxiety often feels like a storm that hits without warning, but your physiology is actually just responding to environmental cues. When you understand the triggers, you regain the steering wheel. Let's start with an easy win, the physiological sigh. This isn't just a fancy breathing technique. It is a rapid way to deflate your sympathetic nervous system when you feel that tightness in your chest. Developed and popularized by neurobiologist Dr. Andrew Huberman, the physiological sigh works by offloading carbon dioxide from your bloodstream. Here is the step by step. You take 2 inhales through the nose. The first inhale is long, and the second is a sharp, short intake to fully inflate the alveoli in your lungs. Then you exhale slowly and completely through your mouth. Why does this matter? A 2023 study published in Cell Reports Medicine showed that just 5 minutes of cyclic sighing daily significantly reduced anxiety symptoms and improved mood more effectively than mindfulness meditation for many participants. It's a tool you can use in a crowded elevator or right before a difficult meeting. It is invisible, free, and incredibly fast. You are essentially hacking your own biology to lower your heart rate. That is the first step. You start with the body to calm the mind. Now, let's move to the second habit, morning light exposure. You've probably heard about the circadian rhythm, but most people ignore how powerful it actually is for emotional regulation. When sunlight hits your retina within the first 30 minutes of waking up, it triggers a release of cortisol. Now, you might think cortisol is the enemy, but you need a spike of it in the morning to fuel your day. This early spike sets a timer for the release of melatonin about 14 hours later. If you don't get that morning light, your biological clock drifts. You feel groggy, reactive, and anxious throughout the day because your internal systems aren't synced. A study from the University of Colorado Boulder found that subjects who got consistent morning light exposure had vastly more stable emotional regulation throughout the entire workday. You don't need a professional light box. Just step outside for 10 minutes. No sunglasses, no windows, just sky. It sends a signal to your brain that the day has started. It is the foundation for a calm evening. If you are finding these techniques helpful so far, hit subscribe. I drop these deep dive guides every single week, and the next 2 points are going to shift how you look at your schedule entirely. Moving on to the third habit, we need to discuss the anxiety audit of your evening screen time. We all do it. You scroll through social media or check your work email right before bed. This isn't just about blue light, it's about the psychological impact of digital consumption. When you look at a glowing rectangle in the dark, you are inputting fragmented, high intensity information into your brain. Your amygdala, the part of the brain that processes fear, is constantly scanning for threats. Social media feeds are essentially threat detection exercises showing you disasters, conflict, and unrealistic comparisons. Research suggests that ending your day with this kind of stimulation keeps your brain in an always on state. The fix is simple, a digital sunset. Pick a time, say 9 p.m., and put the phone in a different room. Read a paper book or journal. The key here is low stimulation input. By giving your brain space to decompress, you lower your baseline cortisol level for the next day. Most of the anxiety you feel at 10 in the morning is actually an accumulation of the stressors you failed to process the night before. Now, let's talk about the fourth habit, the intentional movement break. We aren't talking about a gym session here. We are talking about clearing the fight or flight chemicals. When you get anxious, your body prepares to run. It dumps adrenaline into your system. If you just sit at your desk, that energy has nowhere to go. It turns into shaky hands, racing thoughts, and that feeling of being trapped. You need to burn off the adrenaline. A brisk 10-minute walk or just doing 20 jumping jacks creates a physical outlet for that nervous energy. Think of it like a release valve on a steam engine. If the pressure builds, the system explodes. If you release it, the pressure drops. I have a friend who used to suffer from panic attacks during his commute. He started parking his car half a mile further from his office and walking that last stretch at a brisk pace. Within 3 weeks, he reported that his general daily anxiety score had plummeted. It sounds too simple to work, but the biology is undeniable. You are telling your body that you have taken action, which signals the nervous system to shift from fight back to rest and digest. All right, remember how I said the best one was coming? Here it is. The fifth habit is the worry window. This is the most powerful tool I have ever come across for people with racing thoughts. The problem with anxiety isn't the worry itself. It's the fact that you worry all day, every day, in small, disruptive bursts. You feel a spike of fear, you address it, then you go back to work, then you feel it again. It exhausts you. With the worry window, you give yourself permission to worry, but only at a specific time and place. Let's say you pick 5 p.m. to 5:20 p.m. Throughout the day, whenever a thought like, what if I get fired? Or did I offend them? Pops up, you write it down on a piece of paper and put it away. You don't engage with the thought. You defer it. Then, at 5 p.m., you sit down with your list and spend 20 minutes actively worrying about every item. You can write down solutions, you can fret, you can plan. But at 5:20 p.m., you stop. You close the notebook and you are done. It sounds strange, but this technique is a cornerstone of cognitive behavioral therapy. By compartmentalizing your worry, you stop your brain from firing anxiety alerts every 10 minutes. You show your mind that you are in control of the process. The first time you do this, you will realize how many of those urgent worries actually meant nothing by the time 5 o'clock rolled around. It's a complete game changer. It breaks the cycle of chronic rumination that defines the anxious experience. So there you have it. 5 daily habits: the physiological sigh, morning light exposure, the digital sunset, the intentional movement break, and the worry window. That last method alone, the worry window, is often enough to reduce chronic anxiety by more than the first 4 combined. Once you see it this way, you can't unsee it. You aren't a victim of your biology. You are the manager of it. Start with one of these today. Don't try to change your entire life at once. Just pick the physiological sigh or the worry window and try it for 3 days. You will be surprised by how much weight you can shed from your day. If you got value from this, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into optimizing your daily performance. I've got something coming next week that deals with your focus, and you definitely won't want to miss that. Take a deep breath. You've got this. See you in the next one.